I'm Caitlin Youngquist, University of Wyoming Extension educator. I'm based in Wasatch County and I serve the Bighorn Basin.
Perfect. And what's the project that you're here to talk about?
So the Wyoming First Grains Project, we have Emmer and Spelt planted at 3 different university research stations this year, and we're working with malters and millers and bakers and brewers to use some of these first grains in creating some value-added products.
And so why first grains and why these particular grains?
So the idea is that first grains are an alternative crop that can be integrated into our existing crop rotations with equipment that producers already have. So we were looking at alternative crops that would fit that category. And the interesting thing about these ancient grains or first grains varieties is they fill a really unique niche market, particularly with value-added food products, and it allows us to develop some of these products that are specifically Wyoming branded. And then we can work with local industry to brand some of these products and then work with growers to fill a potential niche in the crop rotation.
And did you say this is the first year of the project?
Yeah, this is the first year of the project, so we have Emmer and Spelt growing on 3 research stations, and then that seed will be taken and used to provide to growers and to grow more next year, as well as taking some of that and getting it dehulled, which is one of the challenges of this project, is that these grains need to be dehulled, and they're more challenging to dehull than some of our modern wheat varieties. So we'll get them dehulled and then milled into flour and work with bakers, and then we'll use them also for malting and then brewing and distilling. Interestingly, they don't need to be dehulled for malting or for brewing, only for the baking.
So you mentioned you'll start working with growers to actually get some of these crops in the ground next year. Once you have kind of a cycle in place with malters, brewers, and bakers, are you going to have like recommendations of like for other bakers who want to bake with this, or how?
Yeah, so the project is still new enough. We're still working out how we're going to do this. But the idea is it's a public-private partnership, and the concept is an incubator. So can we work with the industry, with producers, and with the end user and the industry to develop these markets and develop these products, help connect the growers with the end user, and then in 3 to 5 years or more be able to turn it entirely over to industry.
So do you have specific ideas of kind of the end products that you have?
Yeah, so the end products, there's a lot of movement now across the country, really across the world, in terms of getting some locally grown grains back into the local food system. So we have a lot of local meat, we have local vegetables, we have other local products, but we really don't have local grains, and particularly these ancient grains are kind of an interesting niche market. Some people claim that they're more digestible, they have different flavors, they can add a lot to some of the artisan baking in our breads, they can add something interesting to a beer, to a brewery. You can have locally branded products. So there's some flavor differences, there may be some nutritional differences, and then some people do claim that they're more digestible.
If producers or those downstream processors and end users are interested in connecting with this project, who do they talk to? How do they do that?
So they can get a hold of, let me just say my email, like what would you want me to say?
I just wasn't sure if you were the point person.
So they can get growers could get a hold of me. So I don't, let me give my phone, what's the best way to say that?
Just say at the Washington.
Okay. So for growers who are interested in participating in this project, they can get a hold of me through Wasatch County Extension. And for end users or for processors who are interested in this project, they can get a hold of Tom Folk, and he's in the Department of Economics. Is it Department of Economics? Oh, thank you. So for end users who are interested in this project, they can get a hold of Tom Folk, and he's in the Department of Ag Economics at the University of Wyoming.
Actually, I do want to double back. So you mentioned for food uses, for baking use, these grains have to be dehulled. Is that something real specialized?
Yeah. So the dehulling process on these grains is relatively specialized. It takes some equipment and some skill to do that. So we're working on finding people we can work with on that. We may end up needing to purchase some equipment, but that will be one of the challenges going forward. The other challenge with these grains is that they yield lower than our conventional modern varieties. And so that's one of the reasons we don't grow them very much anymore, is they yield lower, they're more challenging to process. We don't have some of the disease resistance that we have in some of our modern varieties as well. So there certainly are some agronomic challenges and some processing challenges, which is why they're a niche market, right? And there's a reason we don't grow them as much as we used to. But if we can really tie this locally grown product into some local value-added products, locally branded, and that really can add value on a regional scale, then I think there's really a role for it.